Our second recipe is another favorite, holiday orange salmon and Napa cabbage. This recipe is a powerhouse of health protective nutrients, and it's a great meatless meal that you can enjoy over the holiday period. The fish that's used in this recipe provides an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, which is good for our heart health. It also is helpful for dealing with chronic inflammation. It helps to reduce inflammation. And the way Jeremy's going to prepare it in the parchment is actually really good if you're having trouble with nausea or you're very sensitive to smell. So that will contain the aromas while the fish is cooking.
This is one of our favorite cooking techniques where we're cooking, it's a French technique, cooking in papillote or cooking in paper. And essentially what we're going to do is create this really nice sort of parchment package to roast a piece of fish. Now, I think a lot of times, for maybe it's the holiday meal, you focus on more of the traditional proteins, whatever it might be. Maybe it's like a turkey or a roast or something like that. But I think you can really make a nice standout fish dish as well that is not just sort of a side. You can present it almost as a main, right? And there's a few ways, again, we can plus it up to make it look really, bougie and fancy and festive, but with very minimal work, which I think is really important. It also is really quick to cook, right? We're going to do a piece of coho. You can do any piece of fish, but with maybe 10 minutes of preparation, getting it ready. From the cook time to the plate, it might take 10 to 15 minutes, right? So it's very, very little time. It saves more time for you to either prep other things or rest and not push yourself too hard, especially that could be the case during the holidays, and then we always push ourselves a little too hard. So really easy, simple, standout dish that can work as like a main centerpiece. And so we'll start with the marinade, which is great. This is probably the hardest part, is putting this marinade together, but this is where we're going to get all of our flavor. And what we're going to do is pick some of my favorite aromatics, make this really, really tasty rub. So we have some garlic, some ginger, some orange. For some accents, a little bit of honey, a little bit of cilantro. You can use other herbs if you're not a big fan of cilantro. And we're going to use a rasp. This is a great tool. This is one that, if you want to give yourself a Christmas gift, or if it's still not too late to send your letters into Santa, let Santa know. This is a great tool to have in the kitchen. Again, really quick work in breaking ingredients down, like ginger, like garlic, orange zest. You can get your citrus zest here, cheese, hard cheeses, fairly quickly and with very minimal effort. So instead of having to chop my garlic really fine or ginger really fine, if you're again not super comfortable with your knife skills, or even if you are, like for me, I just find that this just minces it much more efficiently and a lot quicker as well. There we go. So there's our ginger and our garlic. Again, this is optional. You can absolutely use whatever you like. I'm not a big fan of garlic or ginger. Definitely not something else, but really quick mince with that rasp. Put that in our bowl, and then we're going to get the zest of an orange. So your citrus zest, I know we talk about it quite a bit, but whether it's lime, whether it's lemon, whether it's orange, has a ton of those essential oils from the fruit. So it's a great way to sort of punch up the flavor, and we often discard it. So just wash your fruit really well, And then again, we're going to just use that rasp to take off. I'm looking for about a couple tablespoons. So like a medium-sized orange. You should be able to get most of it. The zest also freezes really well. Let's see, maybe. Thanks. So I'm gonna keep zesting. I was saying, yeah. So the zest also freezes really well. So even if you're not using all of it, or you have a few lemons, or you know you're not going to use it in a dish, zest it to this point, like this, and then put it in a little freezer bag. And use it, and if you're making muffins or cake, when you need. All right, so we have ginger, we have our garlic, we have our orange zest ready to go in our bowl. Now I'm going to add a little bit of honey to this. Just about a tablespoon. And some herbs. Now I'm punching it up with quite a bit of herbs. So I'm gonna go with like a good amount, like half a cup. And like I said, I'm using cilantro. You can use mint, you can use parsley, whatever you enjoy. Tablespoon of olive oil. Don't need too much. And then just stir that up, mix it together. So it should look like a paste. That's essentially what you're looking for here. And now this, again, this is the hardest part of the dish. So you can definitely do this in advance. You can keep this in the fridge for a couple days. I wouldn't leave it for too long, only because, oh, one more ingredient, sorry. Our juice. So what I would say is if you're making this in advance, go up to this point. You have your garlic, your ginger, your herbs. You can put it in Tupperware, you can put it in the fridge, and you can leave it for the next day. If you're going to use it fairly quickly, then you can go ahead and add your orange juice. If I leave the orange juice in there a little too long with the herbs, it will just start to get a little too liquidy. So I won't leave it for too long on there. We'll mix together, and so that's what I'm looking for. Okay, we have really nice little rub sauce. We have some cilantro. We have some garlic, our ginger, our zest. So we're using coho here. You can use any fish, and you can use, if you're using like a small piece of fish, you can definitely use a small piece of fish. Or if you're serving, larger amount of people, then you can do this with an entire side, which is really, really nice. Now, before I put it into my parchment package, one thing that I like to do, and especially if this is skin on, this is really helpful, is I want to score my portions in advance before I cook it. Because sometimes you find if you cook like a whole side of fish, whole side of salmon, whole side of trout, after it's cooked, it's really challenging to slice off a nice clean piece to portion off for somebody. It's too flaky at that point, and it kind of gets a little messy. So if we do it before I start cooking it, it makes it much easier to actually lift out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is portion it, but the key is I don't want to cut through the skin. Okay, I just want to score my portions just up to the skin. Okay, so I'm scoring, and this should make about 5 pieces. So I'm again cutting down to the skin, but I'm not cutting through. Okay. And what this also does is it actually opens up these little channels so that when I put my marinade on, it will sort of tuck in between and get really, really nice and tasty. Okay, so now let's get our parchment prepped. Get our parchment. And again, you can also do this with aluminum foil. It works just as well. But if you do find that you're experiencing metallic aftertaste, some people do find they experience taste changes, and one of them being that metallic aftertaste as a result of your treatment, then parchment is definitely the way to go with this. But if not, then you can definitely use aluminum foil. Okay, so we have our paper. Is take a big sheet, fold it in half, and I'm going to put that salmon so you can see how it sort of opens up like this. All my portions will slide off really easily. Yes, now we've made this sort of dish before, like this style before, but with usually individual portions, right? So what's nice is, like, again, they follow the exact same technique, but with a full piece for, for everyone if you're serving multiple people. Makes it super easy. There's just one thing to wash up, and really you don't have to wash up much with the cooking it in the parchment, which is nice. All right, so we have our fish, and we're just going to rub side those little channels best we can. On top. Now this is going to be incredibly aromatic as it's cooking in the oven, but what's nice when we cook up the parchment, will actually keep a lot of the aromas intact and inside. So if you don't want the entire house smelling like fish, for example, this is a great way to keep the aromas intact. Cooking inside the parchment bag, most of the flavors, most of the aromas will actually stay inside. Okay, so now we're ready. We have our fish, we have our delicious marinade on top. I'm going to flip the other side of the parchment over, and then I'm going to fold this up. And what I'm doing is just folding the edges of the parchment a little bit at a time and rolling it in on itself. Okay, about an inch at a time, rolling the seal or just crimping the edge of the seal on itself all the way around until we make it to the other side. And then with that last little piece, I'm going to fold it underneath. Now this is ready to go into the oven. If I want to put it into the oven now, I can pop it in the oven, ready to go. Remember, this is going to take 400 degrees. It's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. You always cook by inch thickness, and for every inch, it's about 12 to 15 minutes. This is a pretty thick piece, so I'm probably going to go closer to like 16, 17 minutes. But if I'm not ready to cook it, this is something you can do in advance. You can definitely do this in the morning, pop this in the fridge, and that marinade will actually help to season it even more. It'll penetrate the fish even better. And then you can cook it a little closer to either lunchtime or dinner time or whenever you want to serve, which is great. So that's going to go on our baking tray. into the oven, 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. And while that's in the oven, you can prep a little side dish here. And we're going to throw some veg. And for the veg, I mean, you can make, this is just something that I had. So some cabbage, some onions, and I had some frozen green beans. Again, making it easy for yourself, I think, is key here. And so we're using frozen veg, just super. Some frozen, some you can definitely use all frozen, super convenient. Already washed, peeled, everything is done for you. It's fantastic. So we're gonna throw it into a pan, medium. So bring the camera in. There's our veg, and what I want to do is just cook them down, wilt them down for like 2-3 minutes, and then what I'm going to do is use the other half of that orange and just squeeze that in. Sure. Is this going to take long to cook? This is also something. Something we can do in advance. Warm it up right before. So we're going to use a little bit of orange juice in the orange. And then this is for me that I like to use. This is Chinese black vinegar. You can use any bit of vinegar here. But what I love about this, I try to keep a bottle stocked in the pantry, is it's this sort of like fermented green vinegar. Has this really nice maltiness to it. Super flavorful, and a little bit goes a long way. But it adds this really nice punch of flavor, which I love. So that's sort of my little extra ingredients, and just about a tablespoon. I don't need too much. Again, you can use any little splash of vinegar in here. And that's it. Lid on top, and then let sort of wilt down for like 2 minutes. Should not take too long. Okay, and what you have is something like this. And again, really nice aroma from that vinegar and the orange. That's going to be a really nice side to pair with the fish. Also take it out of the oven, and there we go. So I took this out of the oven maybe a few minutes ago. When you first take it out, it's going to puff up nicely, and if you time it right, then you can bring it to the table with it puffed up and cut it open to release steam. We're going to slice into this now. It smells incredible. We have this big hit of the orange and the ginger, garlic. Now, obviously, the herbs, they're going to lose a little bit of their vibrant green color. We'll top it up with some fresh top. There we go. So again, really simple. Does not take too much time at all, and I think this is a great either an extra protein to add, or even as it's the main protein, the star itself. All right, so now let's plate this up. So you can either plate it up, I guess, on a big platter. You can put all of it on a big platter, as if just go family style, or if you plate up one, we'll put a little bit of that cabbage. Take one. pops right out. Top. And again, in the parchment, one less pan to clean, which I think is really, really convenient. And so we have this delicious dish ready just as is. Some of the extra juice actually from the pan you can just put on top. That'll have the orange flavor, ginger. So there. And then if you want to make it a little extra festive, take it to the next level. Add little pomegranates here. This is extra. This is, you don't have to do this, but if you want to color, I love the addition of these little red jewels on top. Cut that in half. Bunch of these delicious those on top. And a little extra, yeah, some more of the herbs, fresh parsley. Got the green and the red going. I don't think it gets any more festive than that. And there we go. That's our orange ginger salmon with our cabbage. A little pomegranate topping on there.